And we're back with another actual justice warrior with woke Democrat sealed murderer's record.
A Bronx man accused of committing several violent attacks.
Gonna smash this like button right off the bat because he always makes a banger video. You should hit my like button. It helps out my channel, especially in these early days. Hit the subscribe button while you're down there because I need to hit a certain amount of subscribers to at least hit monetization. Once I hit that, I'll quit asking.
Attacks now behind bars.
So many of you have sent me this particular story, which is the story of Timothy Bowler, a violent repeat offender who is 31 years old with a criminal history that dates back to at least 2016.
What? Criminal offenders being let out multiple times? That doesn't happen. I bet you can guess the skin color.
Although I dispute that, I think it goes back a little bit further, which we will get into a little later, and how this man was released onto the streets over and over again, and how there's all these different various stories about how he sliced the fingers off of an individual, he somehow got probation after killing someone, and he has a lengthy criminal history of violent arrests, but of course the system has bent over backwards in order to help him. So what we're going to do today is go through his available criminal history, and the reason why I'm saying his available criminal history is that the sons of you-know-what here in the state and the city of New York offered this man not only deals where he could skate on the consequences of his crimes time and time again, but they actually sealed the court cases for 20 of his arrests, and considering the
Wenny? Okay, there's a certain thing I like to call pattern recognition. That once you hit a certain amount of arrests, you should probably not be let back out into the public. Because after you get arrested so many times, you've got this pattern of proving that you like to break the rules, you don't care about the consequences, so we need to make the consequences more severe. I think every repeat offense, like the first time you get arrested, sure, you'll go to court and you'll get everything there. But the next time you get arrested, time number 2, if you can't immediately prove it's a bullshit offense, then you're gonna have to serve some jail time. Time number 3 will double the jail time from 2, so that you're in there longer with no chance of getting let out early, and so on and so forth for each subsequent time. So, if arrest number 2 gets you 60 days, arrest number 3 gets you 120, arrest number 4 gets you 240 days, arrest number 5 gets you 800 or 480, and so on and so forth, to where you can see how easily this would compound to, oh yeah, you got arrested for a small-time crime. However, because you committed as we go down your rap sheet, and we've got a fucking list of your arrests and crimes that you've been committed for, and I think that they should also have the side list of charges that were dropped, and then reason for charge being dropped. It should be written in next to it, so that we know if the charge was dropped due to innocence, or due to, just, oh yeah, we're writing that charge off because you cooperated over here. Because we all know that happens a lot.
arrests that we have available are absolutely disgusting and should have got him off the streets again almost 10 years ago. I think this is insane, and this is what we're going to talk about today. But before we get into that, I just want to say that the local news presenter for this segment is wearing leather pants, and I think she pulls it off, but I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below.
Okay, let me back that right up. Come on.
I want to say that the local
my face is in the way. There. Down in the comments. 1. Oh, you put a 1 down there if you think she pulls it off. Put a 2 if you think she could have done better and maybe should have worn a different color top or something to go with it. Feel free to share why. Anyways, I'm going to put my camera back and we can get back to it.
The presenter for this segment is wearing leather pants, and I think she pulls it off, but I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. I also want to thank everybody
I
who
think
supports
she does
this channel
okay.
via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Yeah, Nadia, tonight we are learning 31-year-old Bronxite Timothy Bowler was arrested in connection to an incident in Queens. But Bowler's name may sound familiar.
Please tell me he didn't get arrested after he murdered somebody after being let out multiple times. Please tell me we don't have a third one. Or at least a third one that'll be named.
That's
Please.
because we've been covering his run-in with authorities since 2016. At the time, the then 22-year-old was charged with attempted
If you're out in public and it's not over 100 degrees out and you're shirtless, you automatically should be arrested for, assumption of being on drugs or something, or just public indecency. Because no one wants to be staring at you. No one, anybody at all. I don't care if you're the most fit, attractive person on the planet. No one's really wanting to sit there and stare at you.
murder, assault, and criminal possession of a weapon. The incident taking place at a deli in Gun Hill Road, Bowler throwing a drink container at a worker and then striking another worker with a pistol before taking off. Fast forward to the top of this year in January, when police say Bowler cut off 4 fingers of a man using a machete. And in this video, you see 2 men arguing over barking dogs. One of them takes out a machete and swings it at the dog, and when the owner stepped in to protect his pet, 4 of his fingers were severed. Bowler's violent spree did not stop there.
So we end up getting a little bit
That's freaking wild. And if you're wondering what I'm doing, my stupid cat's in the window above me. But yeah, that's a wild story to hear that, he's swinging a machete at a dog. The owner steps in to defend his dog like any sane pet owner would do. And then he winds up losing some fingers in the process. Like, what the hell?
of a taste of Bowler's criminal history from this local news report, and I want you guys to really
I'd be suing the city if I were that guy, and discovering that, oh yeah, he's been arrested this many times and he's still walking free. Especially with how many times that they said that he's been arrested for being violent.
pay attention to what they said, because I'm going to tell you what the local news affiliate did not tell you about that 2016 incident, but on its own, it's already incredibly bad. Apparently, there was a dispute over a drink. Now, I know the full story behind this, make no mistake about it, and Bowler decided to respond to that dispute by throwing a drink at a deli worker. Then he returned to that dispute with a firearm, pistol whipped an individual, and then he was able to skate on that somehow, even though that case, by the way, is significantly worse than they're laying out. And then you fast forward to another case that happened recently this January, where he was angry at barking dogs on the streets of Manhattan, and of course, he pulled out a machete.
This adorable pitty named Chanel is sweet and friendly, but she's missing her owner tonight. Rakeem Young is in the hospital after having 3 fingers surgically reattached.
Trying to protect my dog, man, from these people out here that have no control, no self-control.
Police released this video, the man in the colorful outfit wielding a machete as Chanel goes to say hi to another dog.
And he just swings the machete, and that's when I throw my hand up to grab it, and it sliced off my fingers.
You threw your hand up to try to grab it away from him and to protect your dog.
Yes, and it took my fingers off.
He says Chanel wasn't barking or menacing. He's had her since she was a puppy, and she's never aggressive, just a little curious.
Aw, she's
and
a sweetie.
Why in the world did this guy have a machete?
It just goes to show me that people come outside looking for problems.
Now, to be fair, based on the surveillance video, Bowler is wearing a hat and we can't clearly see his face, so it could be an instance where the police are thinking it's Bowler, but they're actually looking for Jenk's nephew, because we all know that he doesn't like dogs that get out of line. But all joking aside,
there's definitely one guy who I wouldn't put it past to swing weapons at a dog. He did threaten to kill his dog right in front of a whole bunch of chatters once.
a man lost 4 of his fingers in a machete attack, and for whatever reason, we are not done with this individual. But the thing is, it's actually significantly worse than that, because Bowler has killed somebody, and he has many, many attempted murders, including this machete.
He's already got someone murdered under his belt that he has. He's got other attempted murders, and yet he's still out on the street. What DA or judge do we need to eliminate from their position or more before, does a judge need to get killed in this country before someone changes and locks up criminals? Because this is ridiculous at this point. I think that is the only way that would kind of turn things around, is if judges see other judges getting killed for letting out violent criminals. I think that would be the only way. Like, judges, get your shit together. Fucking
attack,
hell.
which he's being charged for, but has not been convicted for in his criminal history, that he was given a free pass on. Again, people thought this man, innocent Beba Angel Aladdin, somebody who has a history of attacking people over the pettiest of reasons with weapons.
He is facing charges for another attack after a motorcycle crash with a 52-year-old woman in Queens that turned deadly back in March. According to police, Bowler left the scene.
So yeah, they end up breaking down
What
the
the
way that
hell?
he killed that individual, which was getting into an accident. By the way, the 52-year-old woman who died in that particular case was actually a cancer survivor. And of course, he fled the scene of the crime, didn't call for help.
Another one. You beat cancer, but you couldn't beat the United States justice system. You see, I'm less worried about a first-time criminal killing me than I am worried about a multi-arrested felon getting let out easy killing me. That's why I am considering moving to a southern state like Texas or Florida, where I can, have much more laxed firearm laws and have more better defense. Like, fuck.
Didn't care about her. Her life was meaningless to him. And in addition of that, he also didn't even have a driver's license, because who can expect Bowler to follow the rules?
Yeah,
when the
right,
rules
right.
are never enforced against him. But the thing is,
True,
that
true.
local news very superficial listing of his criminal offenses doesn't even scrape the iceberg. Now, of course, we don't know about 20 of his arrests because they were sealed, because this guy has been cut break after break after break. He's actually been prosecuted a lot under the Bronx district attorney, but guess what?
How long? How many times? How many times does this have to happen? Judges and woke DAs, there is something called serving law and order, and there's something called, just being stuff for the vibes, just doing it for the vibes.
The Bronx district attorney
Come
actually has
on.
a worse record than Alvin Bragg in bringing charges to fruition. She drops more cases than him, downgrades more charges than him. But again, the New York Post article is incredibly illuminating, so we're gonna go to that. Timothy Bowler has been in and out of jail since he was a teenager, with a lengthy rap sheet that includes the death of a cancer survivor in Queens, while
Right there, that should have awarded him the death penalty. Yet, New York is full of pussies.
on release from state prison, and a rape case in the Bronx just 6
Seriously? A murderer and a rapist. Are you kidding? Are you fucking kidding? No, get this guy and chop his fucking head off. We're going back to the French Revolution. We're gonna get out the guillotine and we're gonna start lobbing heads off. Either that or we're feeding you into the wood chipper feet first.
months after he got out.
Fuck.
Post-record show. So it's important for you guys to understand that the phrase "when on release" means that he was on either probation or, in this particular case, on parole for that particular crime, and then just
I would never say that I am an extremist, only when it comes to enforcing crime. Enforcing laws, especially enforcing the laws that protect people, protect animals, protect children, elderly, anyone vulnerable. I don't like it when people are they take advantage of people. So a guy like this really pushes me to that. Yep, you have forfeit your life, and you no longer deserve to walk the same planet as me. Goodbye.
6 months after he was released, guess what? He assaulted a woman, and this was a horrific assault that we will get into a little bit later. But needless to say, obviously this guy with his criminal history should not be getting an early release, but when he reoffends,
No, he should have life in prison without the possibility of parole at the minimum, and at the maximum, he should get the death penalty. Because yes, I do think that needs to be implemented countrywide. Every state needs it for the worst offenders. And yes, he would fall into that category of worst offenders.
back on the streets, you need to violate his probation, you need to violate his parole. But the thing is, we have a law called less is more. Again, one of the woke criminal justice reforms that was instituted during the Black Lives Matter fervor, and that
Of course
makes
it was.
extraordinarily difficult
Black Lives Matter has done more damage to the black community than anything else in history, than slavery ever could have. Like, if the slaves existed and then they were freed and given rights and privileges and whatnot throughout time, and then we got more and more and more until everything was, as it is today, basically 100% equal. Well, unless you're a white dude, then you're supposed to be guilty about it all. But you get to the thing where you're looking and you're going, what was the point of all that? Like, I 100% was for BLM giving mandatory body cams for all cops. But also that was so I could have my own personal entertainment when I get to watch body cam footage of idiots getting arrested or idiots making bad choices and then getting shot up by bullets 67 times because the cops ran out of ammo.
To violate somebody's probation or parole.
By the way, that's about a cop killer story, not just cops being bloodthirsty. You kill a cop's friend, you're gonna piss him off.
And had that been done, guess what? Probably somebody would still be alive or have fingers that doesn't at this moment in time. His criminal record dates back to when he was a troublesome 16-year-old from the Bronx, and most recently includes claims that he sliced off an MTA worker's fingers with a machete over a dog dispute. Quote, there is no longer any mechanism in law to keep people like this in prison.
Yes, there is. You just lock them in jail, you put them on a life sentence without parole, and then you ignore them. Or you put them under the fucking jail. Because this guy deserves to go into the dirt. Easy, lethal injection, bullet to the brain. Something. You see this down here? He was just playing with the cord there to my robe. And now he's pretending to be all cutesy. I love that guy. Unlike Hassan, I actually care about my pet. Continue.
One law enforcement source said last week, quote, with all this bail reform, we're releasing violent people with zero supervision or any rehabilitation, just giving them another chance to do it all over again. Now, if you're confused...
Yeah, and with that one, it's like, if you can't send someone out being rehabilitated or with supervision, then I guess they can't go back out yet, and your system is failing. And in that case, you need to revamp your system, which you do.
About the timeline, let me give you some
This guy didn't deserve to ever be let out.
He was already locked up on Rikers Island on that machete attack, when he was charged on October 9th with hitting and killing pedestrian Leelawati Nareen, a cancer survivor who was out for a walk in Queens on March 22nd, 2024, when she was struck and killed. Doreen's death came less than 2 years after Bowler was first paroled from state prison. So this particular case has a huge element of tragedy. The woman that he hit and killed was a pedestrian. He slammed into her with his motorcycle. By the way, didn't have a license to drive that motorcycle. And then he abandoned the scene of the accident rather than calling for help. And that ultimately ended up costing that woman her life. But again, I promised you the previous criminal history. More context on that bodega incident, and here's where you're gonna get it. The case that sent him upstate was a chilling November 10th, 2016 incident at a Bronx bodega, during which he got into a dispute with the store clerk who refused to give him beer on credit, according to court records. According to the criminal complaint, Bowler threw a bottle of iced tea, the Arizona iced tea, at the victim and then struck him in the head before.
I sure hope that iced tea just hit him and didn't blow up on him. Those cans are thin. If it was an Arizona iced tea, like they said, those cans, I've seen them burst just by, handling the case of them too hard.
Or storming out. But he returned, armed with a handgun, pointed it at...
Because then not only are you, you've been assaulted and you got some kind of bump on your body, whether it be in your head or, your face, you're bruised up somewhere. Now you're covered in sticky tea.
At the clerk and yelled, "How do you feel now? I'm the man. Who's the man?" Bowler pulled...
You're not a man if you're pointing a gun at people just because they upset you a little. You're a pussy. You're a big fat pussy.
The trigger, but the gun misfired and the bullet fell to the ground, the complaint said. He then pistol whipped him, which, by the way, I do have the footage of this incident. It is linked in the description. And even though he was originally charged with attempted murder, again, not told to you by the local news segment, he was able to plead down to an assault with a weapons possession, and he got 6 years in prison according to those records. So this case right here is the perfect example of how you have to act quickly when somebody commits a crime, when they introduce a weapon to the crime, to remove somebody from the streets, because a man would have his fingers, a woman would be alive had they held strong on the attempted murder charges, which again, they had on video and they had.
You know, when New York elects a worse mayor and they bring Mamdani into power, I hope I get to watch the city fall apart from afar, because at this point, y'all asked for it. Y'all wanted this. And if you didn't voice your comments loud enough that you didn't to your friends, your family, your loved ones, and then you gotta leave. Let it fall apart. Don't try to fix it if he gets elected. Let Mamdani ruin it.
Multiple witness testimonies.
We can have other great cities in America. New York's had its time.
But in addition to that, that case was so egregious because he wanted something on credit, aka for free. He was trying to steal the beer, but not get the cops called on him. He wasn't granted that, so he assaulted the clerk during that particular.
Let me steal that. No. I really want to steal that. Well, that's too bad. You can't do that. Well, fine. I'm going to come back and stab you for it.
Encounter by throwing an iced tea can at his head, then by hitting him physically. But then after leaving, he was so angry, had so low impulse control, he retrieved a firearm, came back, and wanted to murder this clerk again over.
He tried to murder him. The gun misfired. Had it not misfired, that clerk might be dead.
A beer credit that he did not receive. He pointed the gun at his head and fired it, and because of some issue with the firearm, a minor miracle, the bullet just fell out of the gun rather than firing, and then he pistol whipped that particular person. Again, the video of that is linked in the description of this video, but rather than pursue the appropriate charges, they ended up getting a 6-year sentence, and he was released.
6 years for attempted murder. What the fuck? Attempted murder should get you at least 25 to life with the possibility of parole. If you actually do murder, the possibility of parole gets removed, and now you're 25 years to life or death penalty. Because you've killed someone, thus, in my eyes, if you take someone's life, you forfeit your own.
Of course, after only serving 4 years of that 6-year sentence.
Oh, of course.
However, to be fair, he was put out on supervised release, where he continued.
Where he didn't get supervised, did he?
But this was also the era of less is more, so he was never somebody who had his parole violated during that period of time. He was free more than a year and a half when he violated the conditions of his release and was shipped back upstate on June 25th, 2024, staying locked up for just a week before he was released again.
He went in and then came back out only a fucking week later. That is insane. Anyway, ADHD is super easy to help me get distracted. He's down there just playing. I think there's a cat on the other side of the door that he's playing with.
Officials said Bowler's return to prison was for a violation of his release, not a new conviction, so he had to be cut loose at the end of his conditional release date. What wasn't known then was that while he was on that conditional release, Bowler allegedly was involved in the Queens hit and run that left Noreen mortally injured, a case again where he fled the scene of the accident. Regardless,
this man was allowed to kill so many individuals, or almost kill individuals as well. And then they just kept letting him back out. Like, this dude, yeah, if I probably went and looked it up, it's not worth my time because he's not in my state. And it seems that the state he's in just wants to keep letting him back out 1,000 times. So I'm not worried about him leaving New York. He'll just stay there. They keep letting him get away with crimes.
It would only take just a few months before
But I bet
he was
she's
wreaking
back
havoc
out.
again. Bowler was accused of an assault
Unless
and
it
an
says
alleged
that at the
domestic
end of
violence
this.
incident in July of 2024, but he dodged jail when the charges were thrown out, according to law enforcement. He was picked up again in October for a slew of charges in an apartment near Crotona Park in the Bronx. Bronx prosecutors won't divulge the details of the incident because the case is sealed by law, but law enforcement sources said that Bowler allegedly held a woman against her will, threatened to beat the you-know-what out of her, and raped her while she was in the shower. It is unclear why this
Insane.
arrest did not send Bowler back to prison because
This is not a case that should have ever been sealed. We need to find the judge who did that. And, well, I guess show the judge what happens to these victims. I'm not saying make the judge a victim. I'm not saying that. However, we need to educate this judge. Because obviously, they have no idea that their actions are causing, harm to more people. If you are if you are nice on crime and nice to criminals, you are cruel to the victims.
again, they decided to seal the case. So this woman right here that's pictured on
Oh!
the screen is not the victim
This is
of
the
this
judge,
particular
isn't it?
crime. She's actually somebody who aided and abetted this criminal the whole way.
Oh, yeah,
Her
yeah.
name is Darcel Clark. She is the district attorney for Bronx
Oh,
County.
the DA.
The
Yeah,
person
yeah.
who has been in that office since, of course, 2016. So she's been giving this
Heck.
man free passes for almost a decade, and unsurprisingly,
She needs to have her job pulled. She needs to be off of that job because she's obviously endangering the community way more than she's helping it.
because New York voters are absolute idiots, Darcel Clark
New York voters are so bad beyond idiots. It's almost. I think nuking New York would actually benefit the city at this point.
recently won her third term as the district attorney, but I want
How
you
the
to know
fuck?
that her office, the woman right here pictured, is the one that decided to not pursue a false imprisonment and a sexual assault case that could have put this man behind bars before he cut off somebody's fingers and before he got into that hit and run. But yeah, he eventually does get arrested. Obviously, the cutting off of somebody's fingers, the
Judges like
attempted murder.
this. Judges and DAs like this make me so mad. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I can feel myself becoming more radicalized.
Charge is a little bit
What
too
the
much
hell?
even for the Bronx prosecutor to ignore, at least in the moment. She probably would have figured out a way to release this individual, but that's when the Queens district attorney actually figured out that this man was the one who hit somebody who had just finished chemotherapy, was actually declared cancer-free, out for a walk, and killed her. So yeah, hopefully the Queens prosecutor actually holds this guy to account, but this is New York City. This is New York State. You have woke prosecutors, horrible laws, and all these things garbled together in order to cost people significantly. Again,
I don't know why anybody continues to live in New York City. I think if you have the ability to leave, you should. Otherwise, I think you're just as retarded as the voters who put these people into power. Because A, these are people who are directly harming your community when they could be helping it, instead helping clean it up, keep it crime-free, and, not getting people killed all the time and women raped in the shower while being threatened to get the shit beat out of them. Like, what are these district attorneys and judges doing? What are they doing? They are insane.
had they pursued that attempted murder charge to the
If you have the ability, if you work from home, or you have a job that's remote or something, or it's not based in New York, leave immediately. I would get up and leave at the end of my next lease. I might even consider breaking it early if it's like a brand new one that's just freshly signed, and then I don't have to stay there any longer. Because there are much better states, people. There are other states that have better weather, better people, better leadership, and better laws, too. Laws that are way more relaxed on things. Crime is tougher, crime is held up, so criminals are put in jail, and held accountable instead of just let back out to hurt you next. Because what if you're next? You didn't get hurt, you didn't get killed, stabbed, or have your fingers chopped off or raped in the shower today. But how about tomorrow? Do you know what'll happen tomorrow? No. But if one of these woke DAs or judges let out someone like this guy into the community, you might be next.
Fullest extent of the law, rather than actually downgrading it for a soft on crime plea deal. Again, New York, there's mandatory minimums for weapons in possession of a crime. He barely got more than that mandatory minimum. This guy would have never committed an additional rape, held somebody hostage, assaulted multiple other people, domestic violence charges. He would never have cut somebody's fingers off, and he never would have killed that woman. All of those things happen as a result of one prosecutor refusing to do her job for nearly a decade, pretending that this man, Timothy Bowler, is an innocent Baba Angel Aladdin, and then making matters worse by not only not doing her job and not prosecuting him, but sealing nearly half of his arrests. So it's disgusting, it's horrible, it's terrible, but I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. As per usual, if you like this video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on the social.
Yep, do all that, like, subscribe, comment. And just, what are your thoughts on this, guys? People are just ridiculous with the soft on crime approaches today. And I don't know if there's any going back other than slapping back very hard with a almost police state authoritarian style clapback to fix some of these very broken cities. The clapbacks might hurt, might feel a little scary in the short term, but I think it's a necessity. Anywho, I'll see you tomorrow. It's been a wild day for this video.